And welcome to our team call. So we didn't have a team call last week because we listened into the Misfit Republic call, but this week we have one of the leaders on our team, Jenny Baldwin. She's going to be talking about how she runs her challenge groups. And I've run a few challenge groups with Jenny in the past, and I will tell you that they are absolutely amazing. And so I'm really excited to hear her tips. And this is going to be awesome, not just for new coaches, but for all of us, because when you've been doing this for a while, sometimes it can be like, okay, every month I'm running a challenge group, and it can get kind of redundant, and you don't ever want it to feel like that because you always have new challengers and new people that you're helping. So I'm excited to hear what Jenny has to share with us. In terms of announcements, I can't believe we're halfway through the month already. Like, where did November go? But the Team Spirit competition is going on for the entire month. So keep hashtagging your photos and your videos with hashtag Team Beachbody, Team Spirit, and then hashtag the Limitless crew, so that we can be entered in for the most spirited team. Right now, our team is ranked 21st out of all of the teams that have entered the competition, which is so cool. We're in the top 25, but we've got to keep working hard. It's a combination, I think, of, I'm not really sure how they score it completely, but I know it's a combination, I think, of like Team Spirit and Success Club points and things like that. So don't forget to hashtag your videos and your photos, and then also make sure if you're doing quarter to force and you're posting videos that you hashtag them quarter to force and hashtag contest, so that you're entered into the contest every day to win $1,000. Beachbody and Carl are giving away $1,000 a day for the entire month of November to someone who posts a video. I think the rules for that are you can't speed the workout up and it has to be, or you can't speed the clip up and it has to be less than a minute. So keep that in mind when you're doing those videos. And keep sharing your core to force journey, because I know I've seen a lot of you guys sharing it and sharing it in videos, and that's like the best way to get people interested in it. That's how I've gotten most of the people interested in it that I've been talking to. This program is so unique. I know the coaches that have started it can agree with me. It's just totally different than any other program that we have, like completely different. I thought it was going to be kind of like Turbo Fire, but it's not. It's not even close. And the workouts are they vary so much. Like the MMA workouts are completely different than the strength workouts and the sculpting workouts. And so every day you're like switching it up completely and doing, keeping your body guessing. So that's a really cool thing about the program. And then the nutrition, with week 2, we get to add in purple, so an extra fruit serving. Week 3, you get to keep that extra purple, and I think you get to add in another blue serving, which like never happens, which is so cool. Brady's woot-wooting about it, even though he's not doing the program with me. But yeah, so keep sharing that journey, especially over the holidays, you guys. You inspire a lot of people when you show them how you're staying on track, and it's going to make a difference. So just remember that next week. Thanksgiving's only one day, so keep that in mind. I will be indulging myself on Thanksgiving, but then right back at it on Friday. So that's all the announcements I've got. I'll let Jenny get right to it, and I'll turn it over to her.
Okay, cool. Hi guys, if you don't know me, I'm Jenny, and so a little bit about my story and why I'm going to talk about challenge groups, and I think a lot of it has to stem of like why I think they're so important is because I started in a challenge group with Lauren, And it was literally the changing factor of my life. Like, so before that, I was like active in high school. I was active in college. I never was big. I was around like 145 throughout college, but I was in college for 7 years. And around the 5th year is when I wasn't in marching band anymore. So it was like, that's really active at UW. I don't know if you guys know that, but, so I stopped working out, and I was in the service industry, and I worked my butt off, and I drank a lot because of that, because you can drink at work. And then I was also in school, and I just wasn't taking care of myself. So with a whole bunch of things combined, like I gradually gained almost, 85 to 90 pounds that my body was not used to. Like I'd never been that size in my life. So then, I didn't know what to do. I was stuck in that stage for a long time. I wasn't stuck. Like I thought I was just stuck. Like I had no other option. I was just going to be big because I didn't know how to like fix it. And I was kind of lazy too. So I joined Lauren's challenge group after a lot. I joined her challenge group, and like I said, my life was like forever changed. It really set the tone. It like pushed me outside of my comfort zone. It taught me how to eat. It taught me how, to push play every day, to have that motivation, to have that, because I had, motivation is very intrinsic. So I had a really big why, and I just really was sick of where I was at, and I really wanted it. And I think that's a thing that you have to remember is most of these people that are in your challenge groups really want it, but they have to cling on to something. They have to believe that it's actually going to happen. And I'll talk about that because it's kind of has to do with like the second week. But okay. So the challenge group was full of valuable information. You guys have to remember that for a lot of your first time challengers, they don't know the stuff that you're talking about in that first week. And I'll talk about the first week too of like what I post. But when you post those valuable those valuable posts about nutrition, about water, like my mind was blown, you guys. Like I didn't know. Did you? When you were in your first challenge group? Like, I don't know. So remember, there are those people in there that no matter how many challenge groups you've run, remember that there are people in there that don't know what you're talking about. So you have to just keep the mindset that a challenge group, although you've run them like maybe multiple times, or it's your second time or your first time, you just have to remember back to your first challenge and how you felt, and remember that it's not for you as a coach, it's for them. And it's for you too, but it's more for them. So, okay, I'm getting off topic, I think. So I was going to get back to the one thing to remember is that every challenge group that you host is for benefiting others. It's a whole new world for new challengers, and it's also a stepping stone for your returning challengers. So I've had a couple coaches reach out to me and ask me, because I do change my content a little bit, like I basically tweak it for every single challenge, because I do have a lot of returning challengers. So like challengers who will be in like round after round after round. And that's really cool because I actually, for Lauren, when I started, I think I was in like 2 back-to-back challenges. And then I think I stopped with the challenge groups and I did it on my own. But with just being in those 2 challenges, I think the third time why I needed that, I just needed a switch, right? You can't go through the same thing over and over. Even if it's with different people, you need to like figure it out on your own. And that's what I was like, I can do this. Like, I don't need anybody. But it was also like, I've seen this information, so I'm going to go, I learned it, I'm good, and I'm going to move on. Not saying anything bad, but I'm just saying that's one of the reasons why I tweak my content, so I never have it be the same for each challenge. But I'll talk about that later too. Okay, so for new coaches on here, if you haven't run a challenge group yet, so a challenge group is basically, the whole point of it is to get results in a community where people feel safe, where you don't have to be in the same town, you don't have to have the same schedule. You just lock into this community of support that gets you closer to your goals. And it's really, really cool because a lot of people, or some people, don't have that kind of support. And so that's why, like, in their lives. So to get into this group where they have like a mind-blowing amount of people who are just sending them love and, you know, positivity. That's huge. And I think we have to remember that too, because again, not everyone has that in their lives. Okay. Now, so I'm going to say off the bat, not every single one of my challenge groups has been the shit. It just hasn't. You know, like Julia was saying right as we started this call, it's kind of hit or miss sometimes. And it was especially for me at the beginning, because I feel like it really takes time to learn how to engage with your challengers and how to like learn from them and kind of read them. And once you do, and there are some, I'll tell you how, like I'll tell you steps how I do. But once you do, it's huge, because then you know how to set the tone for your challenge. So like, how many of you can raise your hand, how many of you run challenge groups or have run them, and you come to the second week and everyone starts to like dwindle off? Anybody? Yeah? Okay, yeah, right? And if you don't learn how to read your challengers, that will happen. But you have to learn how to prevent it. And I'll tell you how I learned that too. And it's kind of like, I have like this whole steps. Like I'm going to tell you this in like a process. Okay. So first things first, how to set up your challenge groups. And okay. So have a clear plan every single month. Know when they're going to start. And for me, it's usually around the second or third week. And I do that too because of Success Club points. Because if someone still wants to join my challenge after, like at the beginning of the month, then I still get those SE points, and they can still get their package by the time my challenge starts. So that's usually when I set my challenges up. And before as I'm setting them up, like as I'm getting people to join, you have to really get to know your challengers, just, you know, like a little bit. You have to talk about some things, and I'll tell you some things that you should talk about. So first, I always talk about their past experiences. I don't know how to turn that ringing off. Can you guys hear it? Is that annoying? I don't know how to turn it off. If you know how, you can like message me.
What is it ringing from? Just close your Facebook.
Okay. Sorry, that's just like really annoying. Does anyone have any questions so far, by the way?
I don't, but I have to tell Steph Post, I love how you always look like a straight up G with your headphones and your hood on these calls.
Yeah.
What? Did you hear what I said?
No, what is a straight up what?
I said you look like a straight up G, like a gangster on your headphones.
Yeah, white girl. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about the ringing. So, what I ask my challengers before we actually start the challenge, I talk about their past experiences, what has worked for them in the past, why they decided to do this challenge, and then that kind of tells me a little bit about what we need to work on too. So I, again, ask about their current activity level. I'll ask about their nutrition. I'll ask about their weaknesses with nutrition. And then I kind of feel them out through the conversation. Like some people are going to be really talkative and really open, and some people are just going to be like, you're going to be pulling teeth trying to get answers out of them. And it's okay either way. You just need to feel them out and kind of sense their personality a little bit, because some people are a little bit more shy. And then they may open up about stuff. I ask about their why. I do. And it's really important to do that, I think, because I also ask them based on their why. I'm like, okay, so, and if a lot of times too, like when they tell their why, they also kind of indicate their fears. So if you can also relate to their fear and you know, be there for them and ask them, okay, so like if let's say they have a fear of failing, then just say, what you attract, or what you fear is what you attract. So focus on what you want versus what you fear. So that's usually a big like ringer in the head to a lot of people. They're like, oh, and I'm like, just believe that you can do this. Like, trust me, I believe that you can do this. You need to believe that you can do this. And if I don't hear from you for within a couple days, in the group, is there something that I can do to help you? Like, what can I do? Like, do you want me to message you? I ask them this. I'm like, do you want me to message you? Do you want me to tag you in a post? And a lot of time, almost every single response I get is, yeah, message me. Like, please reach out to me. Tell me that I can do this and bring me back in the group, like bring me back alive in the group.
Jenny, is that before you even get started?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Because then I don't like to just throw people in a challenge group without talking to them about anything, because that's when the crickets happen. Yeah. That's when people just are afraid to kind of like open up, and they, if I don't know their goals and no one else knows their goals, then why are they going to be held accountable kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I feel like when I've been talking to them more before the challenge starts, then they really open up during the challenge. Okay. So, for returning challengers, so I have a list also of like, I'll make a list of my challengers in my current group, and then I'll have a list of returning challengers, and I'll also have a separate list of like challengers that did not return, because I will continue to message them, because even though they might not be in a challenge with you, they can still be continuing on. So it's still important to remain in contact with them. But so for my returning challengers who are going to join that next challenge, I private message them, and I ask them what helped them most in the previous groups. A lot of times it's going to be, the food posts or the workout posts or the motivational posts. It'll usually be like one of those three. And I really make an emphasis on that in my next challenge group. Like let's say if it's like, if they really enjoyed the food and the workout, sweaty selfie posts, then I tell everyone, I make that, an emphasis in the expectations. Like when I make an expectations video, I make sure to bring out those points of what helped people the most. Also, so from those, sometimes we get lulls, like I was kind of talking about, like in the second week, like when people kind of tear off. So I think this post actually might have come from Lauren's challenge, but there's like 3 phases of when you're trying to create new habits. And the first phase is it one of your posts, Lauren? Yeah, I love it. The first phase, so days 1 through 10, is the unbearable phase. So at the first week, you guys, there's always that excitement of the challenge. People are always excited and so gung-ho to like be making new food and to be working out and to starting what they've been wanting to do for a long time. And then they get to that second week and they're like, God damn it, like I really want a donut. Or like, I really, I want a beer. Why can't I go and have a beer with my friend or something, And it gets to that point where their mind and their body start to switch back. Like they start to switch like, well, I can just do this. Like I was good for a week. Like I can, I want to go back to my old, like uncomfortable ways because I'm too outside of my comfort zone right now. And the benefits aren't really showing yet, even though I ate well for a week, You know how it goes. Okay, so that second week, so just realize kind of what's going on. Like learn from the lull is what I say. And so for when you have your next challenge group, remember the lull from the previous challenge group and then prevent it. Like know that it's going to happen if you don't do something about it. So, amp up the volume is what I have to say about that. The second week, amp up the volume, amp up the inspirational quotes, amp up the empowerment quotes, share your story. Like if you don't worry if you have a big transformation or not, share your story because your story matters, and someone will, like, your challengers related to you in the first place, so they will relate to your story. So that also is another way to keep the spirit alive, I guess, in the group. But remember that you need to push them through that second week. Like, that is your job to help push them through. And so that's why also, like, knowing your challengers getting to know them before you start, like, you can actually message them if they start to fall off in that second week. You can message them, and then hopefully it'll bring, the volume back up in the group then too. Okay, so how I set up my groups. On Sunday evening before prep week, that's when I start, or that's like when I set up my group. And then my prep week is pretty lax. I do usually have it go 7 days, but I don't post everything in those 7 days. Like, I don't post the same time in the morning in those 7 days like I do. It's a very lax, like, environment, just to kind of, in case people do trickle in, there won't be a million posts for them to read. I'll post like once a day if. Now, with my prep week, if I have returning challengers and they're doing the same program, I ask them if they want to be involved during prep week. A lot of times it's so redundant, and that's when they'll be like, I actually don't want to do this challenge group anymore. If it's going to be the same stuff, I don't want to see it, So I ask them specifically if they want to be involved in the prep week. A lot of them, they don't, so you have to remember to add them when it actually starts. Now, if they're doing a new program like Core de Force, and I have a ton of returning challengers in Core de Force, then yes, I had them in our prep week. What to go over during prep week? You need to go over nutrition. You need to go over, I usually do like a meal prep 101, where, like, I'll go to the store and I'll get my groceries, I'll bring them home, and I'll show them exactly how I meal prep, and I'll usually do it in stages. I talk about meal planning, how they plan out their meals for the week. Especially, I've had some groups, I don't know if you guys have had these kind of groups, but I've had like some clumps of groups where people just get it. Like, they 100% get it, and then I have other groups where people don't get it. And so I was like, okay, that's my fault. So I need to, explain it in a way that I just figured out how to explain it better, I guess. And you remember to keep it simple. For that when they're first starting, remember to keep it simple. I also have my challengers do introduction videos. I'll have them go live in the group and just do a little blurb about themselves and who, like, if it's a multiple coach challenge, you can have them say who their coach is, or if it's just you can have them say how they know you. It's actually a really good way for people to start interacting, because then they feel like they know you more than just reading a post of like, hi, my name is, I am from, my age is, you know what I mean? So that introduction video is really cool. I also have them talk about their goals, and then I will also make I just stuttered there, I think. What did I just say? Oh, I will make them take their before and after photos and their measurements, because I don't know if you guys have had challenges, but I might have not emphasized it enough in some of my previous challenges where they were so disappointed they didn't take those before photos at the end of the challenge. So I don't want that to happen with anybody. That sucks, especially if you lost quite a bit of weight and you can't see it. So I make sure to make an emphasis on that, to take your before photos. You don't have to post them in the group if you don't want to. But just make sure that you take them for your own record, is what I say. Okay, so then Sunday evenings, before the week starts, I before like the actual week starts. So we're done with prep week. So I set expectations by posting a video. It's actually kind of similar to the one that Julia posted about, do you remember that one? The first video that yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's just kind of going over what I expect in the group. Again, they already kind of know because we've talked about it before, but I'm making it loud and clear again. So I talk about how posting every day in this group is so important, because if you don't post, you're not, one, holding yourself accountable, and two, why are you in this group? Like, do you just want to see like nothing? Like, we all need to post. We all need to just share our journey. It can be food, it can be workout. Like, some people don't want to share a post of themselves. That's okay. But if you do that, and if you have other people doing that, then it really helps them step outside of their comfort zones. People are going to be so excited with this first like welcome video. So also make it not just like an expectations, like do this, or like I expect you to, you know, also one thing that I do say, I expect them to have a video check-in every single week. So I say that on the first, like before it even starts. But anyways, I also have like it's like an excitement video too. Like, I'm so excited to start this challenge. And then I usually talk a little bit about like something inspirational to get it started. I also make sure to ask them before the group starts. I'll talk about the check-in video, Julia. Okay, so again, before the group starts, ask them privately, if I don't hear from you for a couple days in the group, like, how can I help you? Like, what can I do? What do you want me to do? And a lot of times, like I said, they'll say, please, like, message me and tell me I can do it, and I'll tell you what's going on. It's great. I think that's a really good thing to do. So sorry to emphasize that again. Okay. So in my check-in videos, Julia, basically I have them recap the week. So my first week, I'll have them talk about their week 1 goals. I'll have them talk about nutrition and how it went. Like, I want them to be honest. So I'm honest in the groups too, like when I get off point. I also have them talk about their why again, like I want them to reiterate, if they didn't do an introduction video, basically like why they started this and how it's helped them within the first week. A lot of times, because they do hit that like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And I want them to realize that before the second week hits, because again, that second week is hard. And so if they have that memory of like, or that notion of how amazing this first week was in their head going in to the second week, it helps a lot too. So, okay. Where was
Jenny, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't want to throw you off, but about the videos, because I never did them in my groups until Jenny gave me this idea. She started doing them in hers and said how awesome it was going. And I started doing them, and then the check-in videos, I asked you about this, Jenny, maybe she doesn't remember this conversation, but we talked about like what makes or how they're different every week, like the check-in videos and what you ask people to talk about. And one thing that Jenny told me to do was to have them talk about their goals for that week. So to keep it like you, when you do your intro video, at least this is what I was doing, or I had started doing after talking to Jenny about it. Like, you talk about, you know, your introduction and what your goals are for the overall program. And then like weekly, I've been having people say like how my week went. That's part A. And then part B is how I want this next week to go. And then we would do like a daily goal check-in. based on those videos. So, I mean, it's made a huge difference. It was really hard for me to get some people on board because people are really uncomfortable with live videos. But the more I encourage them to do it, after a few weeks or a few rounds, like if people were doing it again and again, they were like, oh my gosh, I never thought it'd be just like making live videos without a second thought. But it gave them like a sense of like, I don't know, like they were like confident in other things just because they were doing a live video in a private group. It was like astounding to me. And I just remember having this conversation with Jenny about like, with weekly check-ins to talk about, you know, to have a question like, how was your week or whatever, and then talk about like what's like one big goal for that next week, so that like every weekly check-in is something different. But I just wanted to chime in on that because I've started doing them in my group. I started them about 3 months ago and they've made a huge difference.
Yes, totally. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. No, yeah. So each week has a different, like, I kind of, again, I have them recap what Caitlin said. So I have them recap their week, and then I have them talk about their goals, and then I have them talk about their goals for the next week too, and then they talk about that the next week too. So yes, it is, each week is different, so they don't just say the same redundant thing every single week. Also, again, going off of what Caitlin said, it's really cool, you guys, to see, especially if you have a ton of returning challengers like I do, you see them like transform. Like you see them like be shy and like super awkward on their first, video. And then like a couple challenges later, they're rocking it. They're so good at videos, and it's preparing them to be coaches. Like they're so good at videos already if they're already doing videos in your groups. So that's huge too. Okay, so third week, you guys. How many of you go through your first and second week and you're like, yes, like I nailed the posts, like I nailed, things are going really well right now. And then you get to the third week and you kind of lose steam. Like you lose your steam, and you also don't know what to post anymore because you're like, man, I used all my good nuggets already. Like I needed to use them for that second week. That second week was, could have been bad, but it wasn't because I used all my good nuggets. So again, in the third week, you need to really amp up the volume, but you need to be prepared for it. Again, a lot of the time that you have to amp it up in the second week. So in the third week, you need to be prepared in case you are exhausted, because you most likely will be. Especially if you put a lot of time and effort into these challenges, which you should be doing. So things that you can talk about in the third week. You can talk about the 80-20 rule. Again, I usually don't bring that up in the first or second week because I want them to be giving it their all. Like, does that make sense? Yeah, I want them to be giving it their all. I don't want them to have any cheats after the first or second week, and I don't want them to think, hey, Allie. I don't want them to think that they can never have a treat again. You know what I mean? So in the third week, I want them to see a little bit of the light and learn the lifestyle out of this. Like I want them to see how they don't have to have like this strict eating, because if you want to go all in a program, you want them to go all in because you want them to see the best results. You have to let them know that there is a way to keep this as a lifestyle, but you still can have that balance. So that's why I do that in the third week, because that prepares them, if they're not joining another challenge of mine, that prepares them for the real world, right? Like they grow up and they learn. You can talk about bouncing back after the weekend. Like if you have a weekend out, what to do on Monday to restart again. You can talk about the importance of self-care and taking time for yourself, because they've already had 2 weeks of experience. If this is their first challenge, they've had 2 weeks of experience of this new lifestyle change of more energy and eating better and feeling better and more confidence, so they know how important self-care is. Maybe they just didn't realize it yet. Like maybe they're experiencing that, the effects of it, but they don't know that, hey, that's coming from self-care. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So yeah, talk about the importance of self-care and how taking time for themselves every single day is such a positive thing, and then have them reflect on how it has been positive for them so far. That's another thing that I actually have them do in that 3rd week check-in video. I have them talk about their experience and the positive things that came from it. In that 3rd week, talk about the next challenge group that you're hosting. This is how you say, they're obviously going to be your first people that you talk to, because you want them there. You know how they participate. You know that they bring love to the challenge groups, and you want them to show the way for the new challengers in your next group. Talk about coaching privately to your challengers, especially the ones that you think that would make amazing challengers or coaches, because your challengers have been so inspiring and just upfront and leading your groups. And that's huge, you guys. Those are the people who will change lives. Those are the people who are meant to do this. Talk about what you're doing next. Keep them informed with you too. You want them to connect with you. So if you, and you want them to join you too, like it's fun doing things together. So like core to force, if you haven't started a group yet, you want people to do it with you. So talk to your challengers about it. Also talk about the Beachbody challenge. Again, results are very, very important. So yeah, talk about the challenge and talk about the free t-shirt that comes with it. Talk about what you experienced in this challenge yourself. Share your results. Don't be afraid to share your results, even if you don't think they're good. A lot of times I'm like, man, like I just feel like I've been slacking lately, and I just ran this amazing challenge group and I feel like I had no progress. No, don't think that. Like, don't. Just be proud of where you are. Be proud of that you're continuing on. Be proud of what you're doing for others, and be real. Like, share with them what you're going through, and that's really inspiring, actually. So then hopefully they will share their results as well. And if they don't want to share their results in the group, that's okay. But ask them if they don't want to do that to send them to you. Maybe they're more comfortable that way too. And if you do want to keep, like, I know Carl has talked about like a results book. If you guys want to keep, I don't have one. I thought about starting one because I think that would be really cool. But if you haven't started one and you want to, that's another good way to get those pictures, is to have them and ask them if they can be highlighted or spotlighted in your results, challengers results. Okay, do I change my content? I've been asked this question. I said this before. Yes, I do change my content. I usually make sure I have 1 week in between each challenge where I'm kind of off, so that I can focus on changing content and focus on the past challenge and think of, like, just realize how it went. And again, if there were lulls, figure out how you can change your content to make sure to prevent the lull. But I usually have, like, so for my content, it's like the first week I'll post information mixed with inspiration. So information and inspiration, because that first week, again, is important to kind of like talk about nutrition and, again, the meals and stuff like that. So that usually stays the same, but I'll mix up the order so it doesn't seem, stagnant. So like not every first week of a challenge. And if I can read the group and they're a group of like really, gung-ho people, but they've said that they are afraid to fail, make sure you mix a lot of inspiration in that first week, because that really sets the tone. So that's been huge. I've noticed, like, people, like, it was in one of my past groups, like I had a couple people say that they were really afraid of failing. And so when I mixed, a ton of inspirational stuff in that first week, it really helped. What else does anyone have any questions? How? Allie, we can talk about that. Okay. Any other questions, you guys? Sorry, I'm trying to read the comments to see if I missed any questions.
I have a question. Maybe I know you talk to them a lot about like their goals before they even start the challenge. Do you send them a questionnaire to do before they do a challenge? Is it just too much work?
Kind of. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to make a professional thing like that.
I feel, because I did it once and I felt like it was just like, here, fill out this form so I can know what instead of having like a full conversation with them.
Yeah. I think that's really important too, to like have that conversation, not just have like a format where you might read it, you might not,
Right. Yeah. Okay.
That's me though. That's how I would.
It makes sense though. I just wanted to see if anybody else did that, because I did it once and I was just like, okay, now I don't really know what to do with this.
Yeah.
I didn't get to talk to them about it. They just sent it back to me. So just stick to communication.
Anybody else? Sorry, did I make sense in this, you guys? Like, did it flow okay?
Yeah, no, it was awesome. One thing I was going to mention is like for new coaches who have never done a challenge group before, Jenny did a really good job of highlighting like what she focuses on each week. But if you're like, oh my God, what am I supposed to post? There's a challenge group guide for every single program in your Coach Online office. So you don't have to come up with this stuff on your own. You can look at that. You can look at, I don't know if Jenny wants to share her posts that she's done from like a previous group. I can share my posts that I do. She's motivated me to switch up my posts, but you can pick and choose different pieces from everything. But you don't have to just sit there and be like, okay, I have to come up with a post for 3 weeks worth of challenges and I don't even know where to start. So use like the resources in the Coach Online office, and you can use, if Jenny does want to share what she posts about, I can definitely share what I post about, and you can make it your own and pick and choose what you like from each one. If you are doing like a more generic challenge where you're not focusing on one program, it can be a little harder to use the ones in the Coach Online office, but there's still really good information in there. If you're doing just like one specific program, like Core to Force, you can go in there and there's literally a post for every single day. And I'm using some of those posts in my Core to Force group, not all of them because some of them I think are crappy, but you can go in and you can, grab those ones. They have videos that Joel and Jericho made. They talk about a lot of different stuff. So you have lots of resources. No, you don't have to come up with this stuff all on your own, just off the top of your head.
Sorry, yeah. That's where I started. I started by following those posts, and then you get more comfortable and you, like I said, you learn and you adapt. And you read off of people, and then you kind of know what is more important at that time, like for your group, for the people who are in your group.
Yeah, I totally agree. Do you talk about nutrition a lot, or do you kind of base that on kind of what you're feeling from each group?
Yeah. I talk about it definitely in like prep week, and I talk about it in that first week. I also post like a ton of recipes, and I'll go live in my groups again, and I'll kind of talk about like what I'm making for the week, or like I guess lately I haven't been really like posting my food as like too red, too green, you know? I've been talking about meal prep a lot lately because it's really important, I think, actually. But a lot of my girls have been they get it. Like they're really awesome with food. And I don't know if it's just the luck of the draw or maybe I'm attracting people like that. I don't know. But I definitely do amp it up if I can tell that they're struggling with it.
Yeah, you're lucky because like if you'll find that I think for most people that's like the one thing that they'll like people will understand that they can just follow the workouts, but like the nutrition is it can be confusing. I mean, I don't think it's confusing if you read through the plan, but most people that's like the first thing they throw out. They're like, "Oh, I got the workouts down. I don't need to, read through this nutrition plan." So I personally too like talk about nutrition quite a bit and Shakeology, like really talking about the benefits of Shakeology and talking about how it helps you so that they see that it's not just like something that they should just do for this challenge. Because otherwise you'll get a lot of people who just are and use Shakeology for like their first challenge and then they don't order it again because you haven't talked about like what the benefits are.
And you need to talk about recipes too, you guys, because if people don't know how to make their shakes and it tastes like crap, they're not going to order it again and they're not going to like it and they're not going to reap the benefits from it because they're not going to drink it. So make sure that they know good recipes. So I actually in this challenge that we're hosting right now, I asked them post a picture of your shake today and tell me what flavor you have or flavors, and then we can help you with recipes for them.
That's a great idea. Because, yeah, most people you talk to, like I've talked to people who have tried Shakeology in the past, either not with a coach or whatever, and they're like, oh, I didn't really like it. And my first question is, what flavor did you try? And my second question is, how did you make it? Because there are 7 different flavors. Most people aren't going to like every flavor. So really talking about the different flavors. And then, yeah, how you make it makes a huge difference. Like I've made some really gross Shakeology recipes before. Like you just throw stuff together and you're like, man, that didn't taste very good. But if you share those, like Jenny said, like your go-to recipes, like I have a couple go-to recipes that are great for like every flavor. And if you like tell people how to make it so that it tastes amazing, they're going to love it. Yeah. But it's more than just like throwing your water and ice and Shakeology in a blender for most people. Some people like it that way, but for most people, they need a little bit more than that.
I've also been talking about in my challenges because I'm obsessed with them, but I've been talking about the Shakeology balls because we like to snack. Like women, we like to snack, and I like chocolate and I like peanut butter. And like, if I can't have that, and even in a shake form, sometimes it's not like, it'll give you like that, satisfaction for a little bit, but you still like want something to like bite into. The Shakeology balls are huge. They're awesome. They taste like fudge, especially if you get like the vegan chocolate ones. Those are really good. And then mix it with like peanut butter and honey and like I do with coconut, or if you want like something crunchy, you could put like slivered almonds in them. But seriously, so good. And people love them. They love them. And it's like one of the best snacks.
You can make ones that taste like cookie dough.
Yeah, those two. Those were a little bit like drier though for me.
Did they?
Yeah, I don't know why.
They're so good.
I have a question about your lead up week. So you said that in your lead up week, you do, you talk about meal prep and meal planning and stuff. And you were just talking about that right now and how important it is. And I agree. Like, how do you have like a step-by-step, like how to meal prep that you post, or do you share like from a blog, or what do you?
I go live. I'll go live and so I actually made a snap series on it once before because it was, I don't know, I was like bored and like wanted to know how I meal prep or something, but it was actually like I got a lot of people messaging me from those snaps like, oh my God, your meal prep was amazing. Like that was so cool. So then I was like, okay. So I'll go in my challenge group and show them exactly how I meal prep, because everyone does it differently, but I find it so fascinating when I see someone meal prep. I'm like, oh, like, especially if I come up with like a hack. Oh my God, there was one time I came up with like a melon, like a cantaloupe hack, like how to cut it without like putting it on the cutting board and then like re-picking them up and put it. I like meal prepping, I think. Okay. So anyways, I went off topic there, but so I literally show them what I get at the store, before, and I show them my staples too. So it's actually, they're like spices and they're like good things for you. Like they're like Valentina. Like I can't have eggs without Valentina and avocados. Like it's weird, but it's so good. So I'll tell like my favorite things that I found throughout my journey, like my favorite food items and why I have to have these staples on hand. And then I'll talk about the things that I just will like the normal grocery haul, because sometimes it seems like you're going to get a lot, especially if it's your first challenge. You're like, oh my God, like this is so much food and how am I going to eat all this? And it's so many vegetables. What do I do with all these vegetables? Like that's like, you know, the first time you went shopping and meal prepped, it was like overwhelming. So I try and make it not overwhelming. Like I try and just say like, okay, so I have like I have these like Pyrex things and I'll like, I like them the same size. Like for my veggies, I like them the same size. I don't know why, but I have 4 of them the same size for my veggies. And then I have like 2 the same size for my fruits. And then I'll talk about which meat I'll prep. And I only prep for 3 days at a time, because any day, like if you do it for a week at a time, sometimes the food just looks gross at the end and you don't want to eat it and you end up throwing it away anyways. So I talk about how I meal prep for 3 days at a time. I talk about how it works into my schedule, because I bartend Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I meal prep on Wednesday night, and then I have 3 days of meals ready for me. It's just about how, I don't know. I talk about like specifics, and then hopefully it helps them.
Okay. Yeah, I just think I struggle in that department because I'm not like a foodie. Like I literally eat the same thing every day. So like my version of meal prep is that like I cook like literally like a 5 pound or like a 10-pound thing of chicken. And that's like my meal, my protein for the week. And then for like my cause I'm eating a lot of carbs right now with everything, it's just like I literally have a thing like this big of the rice I'm supposed to eat. And I just take like a cup. I'm like the worst meal prepper. Like
No,
I need to learn from your meal prep group.
wait, Julia, that's not like a bad thing. I heard you say that and I was like, what? That's my life. Like it's like the same meal every day. And like people who everyone's on a different schedule. Like I see Jenny's prep posts and I see her shopping and her cooking and her spice cabinet is amazing. And I have like sprinkles. Like that's all that's in there. I'm not even kidding. And I feel like a loser, but
I'm the same way.
But I eat the same thing every day and people relate to that. They're like, I need something that's easy. So it's like the go-to. It's like the same thing every day. Like look at my giant vat of brown rice or whatever. That's not a bad thing. Like you can build on that. Seriously. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like Shalene Johnson eats the same shit every 3 days. It's a preps for 3 days. That's where I learned that from, because it was genius, because I kept on throwing out all my food at the end of the week because I was like, this looks so gross. Even if it wasn't, it just grossed me out. I didn't like it. So, but so many people relate to that. Like, it doesn't matter how, like, if you eat the same stuff every day, that's okay. Like, talk about that, because people are like you. And so talk about how, because some people still don't know how to meal prep, even if it is for the same stuff every day in batches. They just don't know. They've never done it before. So talk about how you do make protein in bulk, how you do have rice in bulk, but it's still made beforehand, because then you can just grab and go.
Okay.
Or maybe like talk about like I talk about how I eat the same thing for breakfast and lunch every day, and the only thing that's different is usually dinner. But like my breakfast and lunch is super simple. It's like Shakeology is breakfast. It's like an apple for a snack, and lunch is a salad, some sort of salad with like a protein and a bunch of veggies. So like even just talking about that, like Jenny's right. Like that simplifies it so much for people because then they're like, oh, I don't have to come up with all these crazy meals for like every meal of the week. And I even just talk about like what Jenny said, just like cooking like 3 or 4 chicken breasts at the same time and then cutting up all your veggies so that you can just throw them into your salad and go. Like that saves time too. It doesn't have to be like crazy. You know, some people do like love meal prepping. Like they have like the container, like they buy like those like containers and they like prep their whole meal for the whole week. And it's
I did that
amazing.
one.
And I'm like, no, it's not going to happen.
I did that for one challenge, and that was like so time consuming.
Yeah.
That was a little nuts. But I did it for 5 days, and I had to throw 2 of those meals away. So
there's also like really good, if you look on the Beachbody blog, they have like some good meal prepping blogs. I'm sure you could find a good meal prepping video from somebody else. Yeah, it's not you. But I mean, if you have a couple people that are like really into meal prepping, you could pull somebody else's video and post it and be like, hey, check out this person's, video on how they meal prep.
I feel like if they're really good at meal prepping, they get it. Like they won't need a video, maybe. Like they'll figure it out. I have tons of girls who like, and it's just honestly, sometimes it's like people don't make time for it. Like they just don't make time for their food. But now that they have time, they're making time for their food. It actually becomes like a really good hobby. So those people probably will share about what they get to. Like Allie loves the farmer's market, and she will talk about her haul every single week, and it's awesome. And I'm like, man, I need to go to the farmer's market, even though I never go. But it's, like you never know who will step up and who will relate to one another in the group too when that happens. So.
And meal prepping for most people is just like going to the grocery store and getting like all their food for the week. That's like what a lot of people consider meal prepping. So even getting them to do like those small things of like cutting your veggies up or thinking about what you're going to eat this week in advance, that to them is like meal prepping.
And like taking pictures of their food too when they get home. They're proud of it. They're proud of their cart, of healthy food. So it's like having them post that too, like, oh, what'd you get at the store this week? Right. Even if they don't,
that.
Good.
A picture of your grocery haul.
Good talk. I have a quick question before I forget. What I know 3-Day Refresh is on sale this month, Lauren, but what is the sale price?
It's $60. I don't know what it usually is. I think it's usually $70. It's like $59.95 or something. It says it's $10 off, and I just went and looked at it, and it said it was $59.95. So okay. I guess usually it's $69.95.
Cool.
And just so you all know, because I made this mistake with someone who's ordering the Quarter Force Challenge Pack soon, there is not a Kickstart Challenge Pack for Quarter Force as of right now. I was telling people that there was, because that would be sweet if they did that, just like they do for every other program, but it's not up yet. So if any of you don't know, the Kickstart Challenge Pack includes the 3-Day Refresh. So it's the program, Shakeology, and the 3-Day Refresh. So if you're talking if you're talking to someone about doing the 3-Day Refresh after Thanksgiving and they're interested in a program, it like makes total sense to have them do the Kickstart. And we have Kickstarts for most programs, but they don't have one yet for Quarter Force.
Like everybody this month wants to do Quarter Force. And I had like, crap.
I had to go back and I was like, so gave you the wrong information. I'm sorry. But anyway, so that's that. But Jenny, that was amazing. Amazing.
Yes.
I felt like I was like, man, I have so much to talk about. I don't know if this make any sense in the order that I blob it out in, but
no, it was so good. And you guys, you know what the funny thing was? When Jenny said she would do the call tonight, she was like, I don't know what to talk about. And I was like, well, and then she goes, I don't know what I should talk about it. I don't think I have anything to tell anybody. And I was like, Jenny, you run amazing challenge groups. And literally, like, while I was posting that, she was like, maybe I could talk about challenge groups. So she, sometimes you guys don't see your own strengths. We all don't. We all think we're not that great at anything. But Jenny runs awesome groups, as you can see. And she's inspired me to go and change my stuff up too, because it needs to be changed after a while.
Yeah, and I can I've been meaning to do this anyways, and it'll help everyone too. Like if you do kind of have an outline for all of your challenge group posts. A lot of mine, I like kept mine just like all over the place and then would scramble the morning of to get my posts up. So if you have them all in one place, that will help a lot, because I have to do that. But I will put them all in place and then post them on the team page for you guys.
Yeah, that's a great tip. I have all mine saved in one document labeled in order, day 1, day 2, day 3. So you literally can go in there. And yeah, if you're changing them up every month, you're going to tweak them a little bit, but you still have like your base in that document. And so then, you're not like trying to go back to your challenge group and find your post among everybody else's posts. And it can take you like hours.
Right. Yeah.
So once you write a good one, just save it in a document, save it in like Google Drive, and then you'll have it forever. And you won't have to sit down and try and make that one up again.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Any other questions, you guys? Good? Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, we'll see you guys. Oh, I don't think we're going to have a call next week. It's Thanksgiving. Does anyone really want to have a call on Tuesday? I mean, we can if people want to, but otherwise I figure we could take a week off and then we'll start back up the week after.
That sounds good.
Sounds good. Okay. So I'll see everybody later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.